In the previous lecture, we have seen how to create view API in Django. Now, in this lecture, we'll see how to create detail views API. Hi. So we'll see the APIs, how to create Django's RESTful APIs in our project, and which is pretty much important and pretty much useful if you want to create a Android app or iPhone app and something like that. So APIs is pretty much important. For that, we'll create one folder in this book app. So for that, just go to it and new folder and just API. Okay, fine. And in the API we'll create one file. So new file. Okay, so first of all, whenever we create our views or any list view or detail view or something like that, create view, generally we pass the HTTP request and the website gives us HTTP response. Okay, so in APIs we are providing the request in the form of JSON. So JSON is just basically the HTTP, you can say that, not the HTTP data, but it's just information and dictionary type information, you can say that. So we'll return and will request for the JSON in the APIs. So for that we need serializers. Serializers means it gives us the JSON information in or from the APIs. Okay, so just hop into it and create new file, just save it and just save it in the API and serializers.py. Okay, fine. So serializers means we need to serialize it in the form of JSON. So we need to import some stuff from the REST framework. So here is the RESTful APIs, Django's REST framework API guide, and we'll see the views of our API. So just go to the Django's REST framework, and yes, this is the framework. Okay, so just install the Django's REST framework, and after the installation we need to perform the REST framework over here. So we'll install it, just pip install and just paste it over here and enter. Okay, it will install it, and till we need to specify the REST underscore framework in our installed apps of main project setting.py. Okay, so library settings.py, and here we need to specify it. Okay, fine. So great, and look at the terminal, is it installed or not? Yes, successfully installed. Fine. So great. After this is the example REST framework. This is not the necessity, but you can go to this doc and you can check it out, the REST frameworks and so on. So we'll create some and we import the serializers. So this is how we can import the serializers, and we'll use it. Okay, fine. This is the class-based views. We'll see it. Okay, this is the API view. You can go through the whole stuff, but we'll see the how to use the REST API in our project, and we can create our own API, and after this session you are able to create your own API. Okay, so from REST framework serializers, import model serializer. Okay, model serializer. Fine. And after that we need to create one class of anything you want, you can name it, but for the sake of purpose we are giving the book detail serializer. So that we can identify it very easily. So book detail serializer, and here model serializer. Okay, so after creating the class, we need to define a meta class as we have defined in the forms to bind this whole model, which is book, in this model serializers. Okay, and we need fields, all the fields, just like name, price, after that ISBN number and something like that. But if you want that all the fields you want to display, so you can write this like this. Oh, okay, this means the all means you can display all the fields in your APIs which is created in this model. Okay, so I am removing it and I want to display all the fields. Fine. And if you want the specific fields to display, you can initialize it in the fields. Okay, fine. So after that, we need to create one file which is views.py, just like this views.py. So just go through this and new file, just save this. In the API we need views.py. okay, so views.py, I'm just taking some imports. Okay, so from dot serializers import, we need some import, so the import will be the book detail serializer. Okay, fine. So this is the import we'll use. After that, we need to use the Django's generic views which we have used in our class-based views. So let's just go to the generic views in the API guide, and here is the example, some examples. So we'll use this generic views. So from generics, REST framework generics, we need list create API. There are so many views just like list create API view, and after that there are so many views API reference. So you can go through this so that you can get the better understanding if you want. Okay, so fine, we'll use this import. So let me just go through this and okay, fine, just I want to import the REST framework dot generics import. I want some imports just like detail API view, as just like in the class-based views, the detail is not the keyword, we need to retrieve API view. Okay, fine, we need retrieve API view. And also one more thing to show that from Django REST framework permissions import is admin user. What does this mean? REST framework also provides the permissions according to the user, that which user should see this API or which should not. Okay, so there are so many permissions of the APIs. So let me just go through this so that you can better understand. And is admin user, or there is one more, allow any or something like that, and so on. Okay, so we can use this in our views.py class. So just make it a class and you can name the class whatever you want. I will put the class name as book detail API view. Okay, and fine, and book detail serializer over here. Okay, so after that we need some query sets just like in the detail view. So query is equal to book.objects.all, and there are some parameters query set, just like we can go through this. Query set serializer class, which is the class of the serializer which we are using, permission class. Okay, so you can pass a list over here as well. This is the tuple which is passed over here, but you can pass list as well. So we'll use serializer class. Serializer class is equal to the class is book detail serializer. Okay, fine. Over here we need retrieve API view, not book detail serializer. Fine. Okay, and after that we need some permission classes. So we use permission classes, just like I want to allow any to view the details of the book. Okay, fine. So just save it. And one more, we want to create a file which is urls.py. So just save it and urls.py. Okay, and one more interesting stuff is that every folder of Python file, we need one file, default file, which is called the init.py. So just save it and init.py. This is the file so that the Python can access and know that this is the folder of the Python files. If it is blank, no matter, but we need one file. Okay, fine. So I am copying the urls.py whole books url.py and paste it over here, and I need book views, and I don't need the list, so just hash nor create. I need just detail. Okay, fine. So book detail, and I want to pass this as a class based views. Okay, so the views will be the view which I have created, just created. This is the book detail API view. Okay, fine. So import it over here and dot as underscore view, as we have seen in the class based views. Okay, so instead of book underscore detail, just detail. Fine, great. Just save this, all the stuffs, and our main e-library project, we need to specify, just like this book, we need to specify one more thing, that just paste it over here, and namespace is book -API, and I need to specify API/book, and in the book I have the folder API, and in the API I have the file URLs. Okay, fine. So this is how we can redirect it to the book API and the urls.py. Okay, great. So let me hit this URL API/book and just go to this, and just make sure your server is running. So just not test, but we need run server. Okay, and serializers.py, book is not defined, we need to define the book. So just go to the serializers. Okay, so from book.models import book. Fine, save this again. Book.objects.all is not defined. In the views, from book.models import again book. Okay, great. Just save this again. Let's check into the terminal. Great, no error. Just hit the URL and the URL is working fine. API/book. Okay, page not found, because we need to specify the detail number. Okay, so this error says that we need a lookup field to specify the detail view, so which should be, or which must be, a primary key. So in our case, the primary key is ID. So we need to specify a lookup field just like this, and our lookup field should be ID. Okay, fine. So just again hit the URL and some. Okay, server needs to start. Okay, so refresh the page and great, we got our view, but the details not found. Let's just go to the admin and check it out, the IDs. Just admin and admin. Just hit the password and books. Just go through the ID of this. We have seen how to create detailed views API